Hello everyone, this video is going to show you how to solve for slope and y-intercept when the equation is given in y equals mx plus b format and when it's not. And first, before we even begin to solve, we are going to go over some information, important information that you have to memorize. So slope is equal to, and we're going to talk about rise over run. So it's the change in the y's over the change in the x's. The slope formula is m equals, and you could put rise over run. And that is for use of when they give you a graph. Or m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that is for coordinates. When you have coordinates and no graph, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And when you have a graph only, and they give you the 2 points, it's rise over run. Slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. So you're going to have y equals mx, that's the slope, and the intercept is b. So it's y equals mx plus b is the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. The m stands for slope, and the b stands for the y-intercept. And remember, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, right? And the slope is the incline or decline of the line, all right? The steepness of that line. The y-intercept is where my line crosses the y-axis. All right, point slope form. Right, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b because m is the slope and it has the y-intercept in it. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So the good thing is that on the regions that is given to you, and along with the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, that's given to you, and also slope-intercept form is given to you. So you don't have to memorize any of that. You just have to know how to use the point slope formula. But we'll get into that later on. So identify the slope, which is the m, and the y-intercept, which is the b. So this is supposed to be y equals mx plus b. This is the slope-intercept form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So the number that is before the x, is always the slope. And that's the slope, so -4. The number that is now the other number, which is the +6 in this case, is the y-intercept. That's where the line crosses the y-axis. So from what the slope tells me about this is that this line is going down from left to right. It's pretty steep because that number is further away from 0. And b is the y-intercept. It crosses at 6 on the y-axis, right? And that's about it. So this one is also in y equals mx plus b format. So 8 is the slope, and -12 is the y-intercept. So that's your m, and this is your b. And remember, when you go ahead and highlight, when you go ahead and think about what the slope is and what the y-intercept is, you have to remember to make sure that you have the sign that is before the number with that number. So the slope here is 8, and it's a +8. You can't put -8 but the y-intercept is negative 12. Because that minus 12, that's a negative 12. So for this one, this is not in y equals mx plus b format. So since it's not in that format, I don't know why I wrote it that way. Since it's not in that format, that means you have to solve it for y. So you must solve for y. So I'm going to put that over here, solve for y equals mx plus b. So the one way to solve this for y is to divide by 6. Divide by 6. Once you divide by 6, and I just want to show you, the 6's cancel, and then look what happens. The y comes down, that's what you wanted, and then I'm going to just circle. You see that right there? That's 12x divided by 6. When you have 12x divided by 6, in my head, I'm just going to do 12 divided by 6, and I know it's 2. And don't forget the x that is right next to the 12. So it's 12x divided by 6, and that's 2x. Then you have negative 18 divided by 6. How many times does 6 go into 18? Very easy. It's 3. And it's a negative divided by a positive, so it's a negative 3. So this is the equation of the line, y equals 2x minus 3. The slope is 2. The y-intercept is negative 3. You can't identify the slope or the y-intercept before you go ahead and solve for this y equals mx plus b format. Right? You have to solve for y. So number 4, again, not in y equals mx plus b. So you have to solve for y. The one way you solve for y, remember, you have to get y alone. So the first thing that I'm going to do is minus the 3x on both sides to start to get the y alone. It's not going to get the y alone because remember, this cancels. And then you have 6y coming down equals, and then this is where I will tell you all of the time, just bring that negative 3x to the front, right? Just write this negative 3x first. And look, negative 3x, as long as you have the negative with it, it works. And see this 24? That's a positive 24. Now when you solve, it'll be ready. Y equals mx plus b. All right? It's not completely wrong if you put 24 minus 3x. It's not wrong. But the thing is, this sets you up for a y equals mx plus b easy read there, and to identify the slope, to identify the y-intercept. The next thing that you do, since this is multiplication, you're dividing by 6 on both sides. Since you're dividing by 6 on both sides, now you have negative 3 over 6. So I'm going to go and put y equals negative 1/2 x, because negative 3 over 6, you keep the fraction, negative 3 over 6 is negative 1/2. And then 24 divided by 6 is 4. So it's plus 4. So it's y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. So the slope is negative 1/2, and the y-intercept is 4. And just let me show you a little bit over here on the calculator. Once you have the calculator ready to go, we're going to press alpha x, and we're going to bring that fraction up, right? That fraction symbol. So if you want to reduce any fraction, you could put negative 3 over 6 in your calculator, and then press enter, and you see how it gives you negative 1/2? That's exactly what you want the calculator to do, right? Making no mistakes whatsoever. Just put the fraction in. Remember, you have to press either alpha x. If you have the older one, it's alpha y, and then you press the 1 symbol. It's negative 3, and then you press down. over 6, and then you press enter, and the calculator will give you the reduced form of the fraction that you put in. All right, so that's negative a half and 4. So here's number 5. Again, we're just going to do this the same way. We're going to get the x over onto the right side. So you're adding 25x to both sides because this is a negative 25x. That is a negative 25x. So move this down. This cancels on that side. You have 5y equals, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring this 25x first. And since it's positive, I don't have to worry about anything. And this is a positive 40 as well. Now you divide by 5 on both sides. Divide by 5 on both sides. And then we're going to just go ahead and do 25x divided by 5. 25x divided by 5. The 5's cancel. Y comes down equals 25 divided by 5 is 5. Don't forget the x. And then 40 divided by 5 is 8. There's your y equals mx plus b. The slope is 5. The y-intercept is 8. Same thing here. You add 6x on both sides. You want to get that 12y alone, because then eventually you're going to get the y alone. This cancels. You have the 12y. You bring it down. Equals. You see this 6y? I'm going to put that first. Plus 3. And then you divide by 12. And then just remember, 6 over 12. 6 over 12 is 1/2. This is x, by the way. Right? So this is 6x. So 6 divided by 12 is 1/2. And don't forget the x next to it. And then 3 over 12. Yeah, you could leave it 3 over 12. Or you could bring your calculator up. I'm going to move this over. All right. And then, so this was 6 over 12. Let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about. 6 over 12 alpha x. You put the 6 there. You put the 12 there. And then you press the enter. So do you see that it reduces the fraction for you? For the y-intercept, you could really just do 3 divided by 12 and convert that fraction to a decimal. It's 0.25. So the slope would be a half. And this would be either 3 over 12 or 0.25. Either one. I like to have the y-intercept in a decimal form because it's a little bit easier to read. And I know now that I understand that it crosses. This has a slope of a half. So the line is going up from left to right. But it's not a steep line because it's close to 0. And the y-intercept is 0.25. I know exactly where that crosses on the y-axis. I wouldn't know where that would cross if I said 3 over 12. It's a little bit confusing. You could say 1/4. It's 0.25. So 1/4 is a little bit tricky. The 0.25 kind of puts it into a little bit of clarity for me. All right, so the directions for the 7 and 8 and 9, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So they're giving you the m, they're giving you the b in each one. Very simple. You're going to substitute into this formula right here. This is the slope-intercept form. So it's y equals 4x minus 5. It's not plus minus, so don't put the double sign. It is a negative 5. You just plop it in there as the b, and that's it. For this one, you have y equals mx plus b as slope-intercept form. The b is 0, so you only have to put 3 over 4x, and then you don't have to put the plus 0. It's understood. All right, so this is your m, y equals mx plus b. And we have y equals negative 7x plus 0.5. That line goes down, it's very steep, and it crosses at 0.5 on the y-axis. So it says the directions here, convert the following into slope-intercept form. So as long as I have that slope-intercept form, it is y equals mx plus b. So you have to solve for y. Now, just remember, don't do anything. If you see parentheses, don't do anything but distributive property here. All right, so distributive property will take you home. So this is y minus 4 equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Once you have that, you have to solve for y. One more step. This is plus 4. This is plus 4. And we are almost finished. This cancels. Y equals 3x. And then you put negative 15 plus 4 into your calculator. You'll get negative 11. It does not say it wants the slope or the y-intercept. So I'm just going to leave that as my answer. It's converted into slope-intercept form. We're done. Again, right here, just be careful when you distribute a negative. This is a negative 7, so just be careful. Say this. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21. Negative times a negative. Now, at this point, you have to solve for y. You subtract 6 on both sides. You will get this to cancel. You have y equals negative 7x plus 15. Right? Just remember, put this into your calculator. 21 minus 6, 15. Right here. So now this is a half, negative a half x. Be careful. Negative a half, multiplying by negative a half, you just go ahead, put it in your calculator, just like this. Clear this out. You could do it 2 different ways. You could press alpha x, you have a negative 1/2 times negative 4. And it's 2. Negative times a negative. Right? So negative 1/2 times positive x is negative half x. Negative times a negative is positive. We know that, and it's 2. Remember, when you multiply a number by half, you're halving that number. It's like dividing by 2. Negative times a negative is positive, though. Now we are ready to go and add 10 to both sides. We are going to cancel this. Y equals negative a half x plus 12. And that is it for that part of the homework. So for number 13, it's very simple. You have to just look at the clues that are given. You could do rise over run, but I'm going to do this a different way. So we have to give the letter of the equation that matches the graph. So I'm looking at this, and the first thing I see is that this is a positive slope. This is a positive slope because it's going up from left to right. This is also positive because it's going up from left to right. This one is positive because it's going up from left to right. This is going down. This is a negative slope. It is the only negative slope because it's going down. There's only one negative slope. It's C. So put C down for this one. By the way, the y-intercept is 0. And this makes this one a direct variation. They didn't ask for that. You don't have to put it. But the thing is, if it crosses 0, if it crosses the origin, it is a direct variation. That is the only one that goes down from left to right. Immediately, you have to pick C. So I canceled that out. Now I'm going to look at, just remember, I have y equals mx plus b. This is y equals x. This is y equals 2x minus 3. This is y equals 2 over 3x plus 2. So there's one equation here. There's one line that crosses at -3. And it's this one. So if this is the y-intercept, the b equals -3. This one is 2. This one is 0. This one is 0. And we already have the answer for that. This one crosses at -3. So the b equals -3 for this one. So -3, that's this. So we have two answers already. We have this one and we have this one. So let's see if we could cancel out the b. And we only have d and a. Here's y equals mx plus b. And the b is 2. So that means that the lines that you're choosing has to cross the y-axis at 2. So this one crosses at 2. So we're talking D right here. And then this one crosses at 0. So we're talking about this one right here, A. Now, did I do this? Did I figure out slope at all? No, I didn't use the slope. I just looked at the lines. If you do slope with rise over run, you will come out to be that this one right here is a 1 slope. If you do rise over run is 1 over 1. That is the slope right there. For this one right here, you're going to take this point and do the rise over run. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2. This is 2 over 3 as the rise over run. Look, D. And then this one right here, I take the y-intercept and then take this one right here. And I'm just going to go up and to the right. So this is 1, 2, and 1. So this has a slope of 2. Look, B, slope of 2. So it matches up. But you don't need to do the slope at all. Y-intercept is easier because it's visual. So you can see exactly where the line is crossing that y-axis. Okay, so there's directions here. Write the equation of the line in point-slope form. And I'm going to highlight point-slope form. Point-slope form, and then slope-intercept form. So you have to convert the two. So point-slope form, they give it to you on the regions, is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And they give you that. Right, so point-slope form, the reason why this is called point-slope form is because it's for use when you have a point and the slope. Right, so the point is x1 and y1. You see it right here and right here. That's the point. And the slope is m. So point-slope form uses a point and the slope. Slope-intercept form is simple. It's y equals mx plus b. It has the slope in it and it has the intercept in it. So, to convert this into point-slope form, anytime you see a one coordinate, x1, you label it x1 and y1. So point-slope form, I already wrote it down. This is y minus y1 is 6. Y stays y. All right, the y1 is 6. Right, you labeled it. There it is, 6. Equals m. They already gave you what the m is, 5, substituting the numbers in. X stays x, minus x1 is -1. Please, please, when you see minus a negative, two negatives in a row, convert it to positive. That is the answer. Point-slope form is y minus 6 equals 5 times x plus 1. That is point-slope form. You could actually just get rid of this so I don't confuse anybody. It's the double negative that is changing that to a positive, right? So this is point slope form right here on this line. That's the answer. You're done. Now to convert this into slope intercept form, you have to solve for y. You have to solve for y equals mx plus b. Slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That is given to you on the regions. So you have to just go ahead and look at the page, and there's point slope form. You have a point and the slope. So the slope intercept form, and then I'll do this in blue, go ahead and do distributive property like we just did on in the prior questions. Y minus 6 equals 5x plus 5. And then you solve for y. It's plus 6, and then you will get this canceling, and you get y equals 5x plus 11. Slope intercept form. That's it. All right, so now let's go ahead and do this. Label, always label. All right, point slope form. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. It's used for when you have a point and the slope. So we have y minus y1, which is 1 in this case, equals m, which is negative 3 over 4, x minus x1. So minus is from the formula. Negative 8 is x1. You see this double negative? Plus, plus. That is point slope form. I'm going to rewrite it. If I wasn't on eraser, y minus 1 equals negative 3/4 x plus 8. That is your answer for point slope form. That is the point slope form. So now we're going to convert this point slope form to slope intercept form. So slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So here we go. Distributive property. Negative 3 over 4x times negative 3 over 4 times x is negative 3 over 4x. And negative 3 over 4 times 8, I'm bringing up my calculator for this, alpha x, negative 3 over 4. You don't have to change it to a decimal because the calculator takes, like, has that fraction symbol going, and then you times it by 8. And let's see what it is. It's nice. It's negative 6. That is really nice. Plus 1 on both sides. And we are going to squeeze this in here. The 1's cancel. And we get y equals negative 3 over 4x. And that is negative 5. Put it in the calculator. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. All right? And that is it. Just remember, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we have 2 more questions to go. The directions say find the equational line that passes through the given points, then rewrite it in slope intercept form. Slope intercept form is that. And if you had the slope and the y-intercept, you're missing the slope. Missing in action is the slope right now. missing, and missing. And the y-intercept. You're missing those two things. So that means you can't just jump to y equals mx plus b. So you have to figure out when they have 2 points, no matter what they're asking you to do, get the slope of those 2 points, right? Just get the slope of the 2 points. Because after you get the slope, then you could go ahead and move to the point slope formula. So this is x2, this is y2. So let's go over here, and we're going to put down y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we're going to put m equals, and we're going to put the line with the minus signs, and we're going to have y2, which is 2, minus y1, which is 5. I'm going from the labels, and negative 4 is x2, and minus 1, negative 1, is my x1. Remember this 2 negative deal, that it becomes a positive. It's like keep, change, change. It's exactly the same thing. Go to your calculator. Don't do anything without the calculator. There it is. Press alpha x. It's 2 minus 5. Don't do it separately. Do them all together. The calculator will give you the answer. This is negative 4 plus 1. See what I have here? That's what I have here. I press enter, and guess what? It's 1. How did it get to 1? We don't know. Doesn't matter. Because you put it directly into the calculator, it is not going to give you the wrong answer if you put it in correctly. Negative 2 minus 5, negative 4 plus 1. Let the calculator do it. It's 1. All right, point slope form. This is point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That is point slope form. So we're going to put this into point slope form. Now I'm going to tell you, it does not matter which point you use. Does not matter. I'm just going to substitute numbers in to the point slope formula and then let it be. All right, so the point slope formula is this. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we're going to have y, I'm going to write down y, leave y alone, minus y1. I have my y1 here. I'm going to put 5 equals m. My m, I figured out, is 1. I'm going to put 1. And I'm going to put x minus x1, which is negative 1. And guess what? Double negative, make it a positive. That is my point slope form. I am done. So I'm going to go like this and just erase that because it's bothering me that I see 2 plus signs. It doesn't matter though. That is point slope form. This is the answer for point slope form. So I'm going to rewrite it in a different color. Y minus 5 equals 1 times x plus 1. And now I'm going to go ahead and solve for slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals the slope mx plus the intercept. That's why they call it slope-intercept form. So here we go. I'm going to solve this for y. I'm not going to do anything but distributive property first. And distributive property is pretty easy because, I don't know why I put equals. Because it's 1 times x. 1 times x is x. It's 1x. I'm just going to put x. 1 times 1 is 1. Don't add them. It's multiplication. So you're just going to add 5 on both sides. And you end up with y equals mx plus b. X plus 6. That is slope-intercept form. Has a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 6. You're finished. You're done. That's it. All right, let's go back up to the last question on this homework page and label. The first thing that you do is label. I always label above, but it doesn't matter. It's x1, y1, x2, y2. You're missing the slope. So I'm going to put y2 minus y1. x2 minus x1, and then m equals y2. y2 is 2. y1 is 5. x2 is 2. Minus x1 is negative 4. I'm going to do plus plus because that double negative. I'm going to grab my calculator, and again, don't do anything without it. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so you can see what I'm doing. So alpha x, and I'm going to put 2 minus 5 on the top in the numerator, and then 2 plus 6, 2 plus 4. And you get negative a half. Let the calculator do the work for you. Don't try to do it separately. All right, so you have m equals negative a half, and you're good to go, all right, with the slope. But now you need the point slope form. So point slope form, I'm going to put in red, right underneath y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we have point slope form. We're going to substitute numbers in. That's all we have to do. But I'm just going to show you that if you want to use the x2 and y2 as the x1 and y1, you can. It's going to be the same answer, all right? But let's go ahead, and since I have x1 and y1 labeled, I'm just going to go ahead and use that, and then I'll use this one to show you that it's the same thing. So the point, if you use this point right here, it's y minus y1, which is 5, equals the slope, which is negative a half, times x, minus x1, which is negative 4. Notice I have the double negative there. I'm just going to change it, and that is my point slope form. I am going to erase this because it annoys me, and that is it. And remember, you could just, all right, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and solve it. This is your point slope form. The slope intercept form, again, is y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to rewrite this. This is y minus 5 equals negative a half x times x. Use your calculator every time, every step of the way. You have negative a half x, negative a half times x is negative a half x, and negative a half times positive 4 is negative 2. All right, use your calculator. Then you add 5 on both sides. You're going to use your calculator. This cancels. You get y equals negative a half x plus 3. And that is slope intercept form. Slope intercept form. And I just wanted to show you, just so you know, that you could use the x2 and y2. And the reason why I'm showing that to you is because they're both positives, and it's just much easier to work with the positive point, but it doesn't matter as long as you remember that this negative minus a negative 4 would be this positive 4, you're good to go. But if I took 2 and 2 and put them in as y1 and x1, this is exactly what would happen. This 2 equals negative a half x. And then this would be plus 1, right? And the reason why that would be plus 1 is because negative times the negative would be a positive 1. So just plus 2 and plus 2. And just take a look at what happens here. The 2's cancel on this side. You get y equals the negative 1/2 x plus 3. And you see that it comes out to be the same slope intercept form. That'll always work because of, it's a line. And the points on the line, if you put it into point slope formula, and then solve it for the slope intercept formula, form, then it has to come out to be the same equation, because that line has a constant slope with a y-intercept that's pretty much set in stone, that it crosses at 3, and it has a negative half x, a negative half slope in this case, where it goes down from left to right and crosses at that 3. So it doesn't matter which point you use. I just use x1 and y1 because it's labeled that way. But if I see two positives, 2 and 2, and I think that that point is easier, then instead of x2, I'm gonna put that in as my x1, and then I'm gonna put that in as my y1. And even though it says x2 and y2, it's a point on the line, and you could definitely do that. All right, and that is all for the homework, and I hope that helped, and thank you for watching. See you next time.